Hello, hello. I will be your host for this presentation. It's a pretty exciting, pretty big conversation today. So, we're talking about how to scale your business to $1 million in sales. $1 million for some of us sounds absolutely wild. I know when people used to say this to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that seems intimidating. Hi, Victoria. So, this can be extremely exciting or it could seem a little scary. Now, I will say that emotion is the same. It's a vibration, and we let it get out of chaos or we keep it contained. So let yourself tap into that and just take a moment and think about if your business reached $1 million in sales, what would that feel like to you? Normally, for a lot of us, it's like, I made it. Success. So think about what that would really feel like. And think about the type of person that you would have to become. What skills, what habits. Now, you're probably like, I don't know. That's why I'm here. We're going to talk about that. But just to get you thinking as we are getting started, thinking about what type of skills and habits would that version of you need to have? What energy level do you think that they would have to have? Do you think that they would be juggling everything? They wouldn't be clear about what their calendar's doing. They're randomly posting on social media. No. So that's my point, is that we do not arrive at $1 million in sales by accident. It is a very intentional thing for us to do. So make sure that you drop in the chat. Let us know whether you're watching it live or you're catching the replay. What is your business? And either you have a business or you're thinking of starting a business, which that is this program, Start and Scale Your Coaching Business. Now, you could be a coach in fitness and health, mindset. You could have a specialty within one of those areas. You might be a business coach like me. That's totally fine for you to be tuning in and promoting your business here as well. So let us know what it is that you're promoting. I know me, myself, I used to be, or my prime job was being a yoga instructor and then a yoga therapist and then a hypnotherapist and then combining them all. And I've taught warrior goddess training and I've taught all these different styles of training. And I kept seeing that there was a ton of business training out there and realizing though that they weren't really giving these super clear actionable steps that balanced both the mindset and the clear steps along with it. It was a very foreign territory for me coming out of this very much mindset and transformation. And I was like, how do we market and scale a yoga business? For example, how do we market and scale something mindset, something so intangible? So, most of the time, like I went back, I got my MBA in marketing, and most of the time, we're marketing something that is very tangible. And those are so easy to market because it's like, here's the physical product. I can talk about this physical product and how it impacts my life. So, when we're talking about coaching or when we're talking about something that is not, not physical, we have to bring it into the physical. How do we do that? Well, it starts with, and we started this on day one, having a business plan, having a blueprint. These are crucial. And every day we've stair stacked our way up. Now, in order to scale our business to $1 million, I'm gonna really talk about three main things that need to happen. And then we're going to talk about the mindset within all of this. And I'm going to talk about why mindset is so important. So I mentioned this yesterday in our day 3 that mindset is crucial because we have to exit worker bee mentality, where I go in, I do these tasks, I'm working for someone, I clock in, I clock out. I have these tasks that I have to do where it's more hourly based. versus we are stepping into this role of the vision holder, of the transformation provider, of the project mindset versus the task mindset. So we really have to shift. Instead of going, what all do I need to get done today? We need to be thinking about, what do I want to accomplish this year? How do I break that down into quarters? What is my overall vision and mission for this business? So we have to think a whole lot bigger, a whole lot bigger. So it starts with you reaching a million. It starts with you, but you are going to have to bring people along on this journey. You will not accomplish this completely by yourself. And that is a big mindset shift that you will have to get out of. Collaboration is extremely important. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're your business partner, but you can collaborate with other businesses, with other coaches. You will exit the competition mentality, get narrowed in. And this is why having your niche is so important. Because if we could all focus on our niche, then we can all support each other and we can then collaborate. So I'm doing that right now. I have 2 collaboration projects that I'm working on, actually 3, because I have a summit that's coming up as well. And I think that's definitely a way to get ourselves out there. And we have to get ourselves out there. We have to be seen in order for people to know us. And then to know us, then to like us, to get within our funnel, to purchase from us. So if you're going to make $1 million in sales, think about if you had 1 million people spend $1. And you're like, 1 million people? Yeah, how many people are in your city? There's 6 billion. Is it 6 billion? You can correct me if I'm wrong. 6 billion people in the world, and we're online. We're available to a large portion of that. 1 million? 1 million people. If you could get yourself in front of 1 million people, that should be our goal. Because if we could sell at least $1 for each person, this is my thinking anyways, that makes me put things into perspective. Because part of our offers, it's not going to be a singular offer. Now, that is where we start within our coaching business. We need to start with a singular offer. So many of us, we try to create this complex mix at the very, very beginning. And we do not want to do that. When we start our business, in order to start and scale to 1 million, we need to start with one thing that's going to generate revenue, and it's going to generate revenue fast. Why? Because if we are focusing on 1 million different things and we are in scarcity mentality, thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to make more money? Well, maybe I could create this offer. Maybe I could create that offer. Trust me, I've done it. That we get so scattered that we don't do the one thing well, and we will end up not making enough money, and we stay in scarcity mode. We have to get ourselves out of scarcity mindset and into abundant mindset. And that first starts with what is going to, of all your ideas for your business, the one that you're going to focus on first is the one that's going to make you the most money with the least amount of effort. You want to get that working and going so that you can then find a way to automate that as much as possible. All right, Victoria said she's doing goddess meditations and tapping into the divine feminine. I love it. All right, brainstorming the title of your business. Don't worry about the title. When you're starting, don't worry about the title. Focus on the transformation. Focus on what you're creating. Focus on your vision, your mission. Get all of that ironed out, and the title will come to you. So it is not like working on through a book. I need the title first, then I go into these sections. No, just like goal setting, we start with the big, big thing, and then we trickle down. When you're creating a course, you're going to create the course. Well, hypothetically, bear with me for this example. You would create the course, or at least the outline, the overview of it. Then you would come back in and you would have everything done before you would create that very first intro. And I'm talking about if you're recording your course, before you would create that very first intro of what to expect, how to utilize the course, where they can find everything. That video is the very first video, but that's actually what you create last. So we want to think big, big picture. We would create an outline. We would have everything there. Same thing with our business. We create an outline. We have this big, giant vision, this big, giant plan. And it's a rough draft. It's just the bones. And then we would start to put all the organs. I'm using a body. You putting all the organs. Then we would get into a layer deeper, and the skin would go on last. The face and the details of the face would go on last. So imagine we were building this clay sculpture or replica of the body. Same thing with a house, right? Now, with a house, you would create a frame, but you're not going to put all the details in. You wouldn't come in and put the couch and the pots and the pans in the house until the house is built and more complete. Okay, so wait on the name. The same thing with don't go and get yourself a website and put it up. A landing page will suffice, and a landing page is beautiful for a long, long time in your business. All right, so talking about scaling your business. So that's how we're going to start. We're going to focus on one thing. Focusing on one thing, doing it well, and getting it to the point where we can replicate that very, very easy. That might take you 3 to 6 months just to do that when you're first starting your business, because most of us are juggling other things. Most of us are working a job. Most of us have family. If you do not have anything else going on, then you should be able to iron all this out within 3 months. The very beginning is slow. Let it be slow. Get yourself that strong foundation. And I talked about the business plan itself can take about 100 hours. That beginning needs to have a strong foundation. Once that is a strong foundation and you've learned how to create your process, then you can say, I've created this process. How can I now get someone in here to help me with this process so that I can free up my time to create the next thing or make this more robust? You have to be thinking in this mentality. Otherwise, you're going to get to chaotic, frantic mode where you're trying to juggle everything and you feel like you suddenly need to hire someone, but you don't have the money because you've been too busy juggling everything. And you don't have the time now to put in all the processes in order to hire someone. You would have to stop everything and take a month and figure out all the processes so that you can get someone to help you, so that you can then start scaling. That is exhausting. What if you are there? Well, you're going to have to say, what is on my plate that is absolutely not necessary right now? You will have to create a plan. You will have to create a strategy to say, okay, I'm going to make next month only the essentials, and I'm going to block and reserve these times on my schedule to iron out my processes and see where I can get help and how I can set that up to hand over these processes to someone so they can help me. It takes about a month to get someone prepped and ready and teaching them and guiding them to accurately help you with your processes. Now, you're taking a month to make sure that you're set up so that you can bring someone in. Then there's the process of getting that someone and holding their hand through the process. The more you've ironed this out, you know what your expectations are, the better that's going to be. Because you don't want to be figuring that out while you're training them, because then you're paying them while you're trying to figure things out and you're going to get really, really frustrated. Now, I say keep this in mind because you are going to need to have 2 to 3 people helping you as you scale to your million. And this is with any coaching program. You want your business to have replicable processes, not just for hiring people, but for your own sanity, so that you can get consistent results, so that things get easier and easier. And so when you're in your business and you're working that 40 hours a week in the beginning, putting all this time and effort in, you don't want to stay at the 40 hours a week. We want to drop it down to 30 and then maybe down to 20. And maybe we can drop it down even less if we can get more and more processes ironed out so that we have automations and so that we have people assisting us and helping us. If you are at 1 million, then your time, your personal time, is going to be around, I would say, anyways from $400 to $800 an hour minimum worth of time. And then I would ask you, is it worth you spending an hour doing little things that could be replicable, that could have someone else to do it? No, for a business to receive profits and to be scalable, you're going to need to pay someone $10, $15 an hour to do these tasks where they can pretty much just copy paste things, make sure, go through a checklist, make sure they've done those things. You need to be thinking so much bigger. You need to be the face, or you need to be the creator creating this juicy content that they're not going to get anywhere else. Your blog posts that are specific and written by you, just an example. The content of your course, the meditations that you're going to record. Those things are the crucial things that you need to be doing in your business. Those are the things that make your business unique. So let's look at these 3 things. These 3 things that I'm talking about that really need to happen. And so I already mentioned number 2, which is systems and processes and why that is so important. But I also mentioned how you need people to join you on this journey. Join you on this journey of growing your business. And how do we grow our business and how do we get people to join us? How do we get people that want to work for us? How do we also get people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I want to work with them. I want to buy their products. I want to be in their group. I want to be in their training program, or I also want to be on the back end. I want to be supporting this." Maybe they've gone through your program and they're like, "How can I work for you, with you, and help you do more of what you do, because what you do is so important and so just amazing that I want to support that." How do we do that? We do that by having a super strong vision and mission, and we work on creating a movement. So in this movement, you are going to really have to be vulnerable. You're going to have a strong brand story. You're going to have a strong mission, and you're going to have to set your claim and not be scared to express your unique thoughts, your unique vision for how you want to change something, how you want to address a problem in the world, and how your solution is contributing to solving that problem. And we talk about this more on webinars that convert. And there's this overarching problem. I'll give you an easy, quick example. If you were going to teach a specific keto course, and yours is called, the 5-day keto program or something like that. I don't know. I'm not an expert in keto. I know about it, but I'm not an expert. You overall want to address why keto is going to solve their problem, so that they're like, "Oh, I need to go keto." Okay. But then you come in and say, "I have a keto solution. There's a lot of different keto programs out there. This is why mine's the best, and how mine's going to help you accomplish that overarching problem." Does that make sense? Okay. So you want to start a business. You have a passion. You have this thing that's weighing on your heart, and it has helped you, and you feel inspired, you feel called, you feel like your life will not be complete until this is created and manifested and put into the world. Maybe it's been bugging you for a very, very long time, or maybe it's just this passion that just feels, "Oh my gosh, I have to do it." There are a lot of business coaches out there. There are. But there is also a lot of business coaches out there that haven't worked in corporate. There's a lot that have. There's a lot of business coaches out there that haven't necessarily worked within the health wellness, that haven't necessarily gone through other people's programs and said, these things work, these things don't work. You need someone who's going to cipher through all of that, who's going to tell you which freebies are important and which ones aren't. Who's going to say, like, ignore this noise. These are the key things that you really need to do to get success. Don't worry about the trends. Worry about the core foundations. Because what's happening is a lot of us business people, entrepreneurs, coaches in particular, we've got a lot of noise telling us, well, this is why you're not getting clients. Well, this is what you need to do. Well, you're not getting this because you need to do that. And they're trying to get your attention because they want to say, well, I'll help you with that. And it worked really well for them, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work well for you. And I say that because it's like a diet or an exercise program. It's the same. Um, there's not a one size fits all. And that's why I particularly work with people who are multi-passionate. I tend to, anyways. People that need to really look at the mindset, that need the actionable steps, maybe that have gone through another program even and said, I went through it, but there were still some things that I'm missing. I will call you out. If you need someone to really say and give you that feedback, I am that person for you. Okay. Now, what we were talking about, number one, create a movement. Number two, systems and processes. These are a must because you need more people. Now, one and two, they go together. Number three, this is the scary part. This is the part a lot of people avoid, if you didn't already avoid the other ones, is to know your numbers. Know your numbers. So often we're just listening to other people spout out numbers and we're not looking at our own numbers. So I jotted down some numbers that way I didn't have to be sitting here doing the calculator the whole time. So $1 million in sales, and I'm specifying because a lot of coaches out there will be like, make 1 million. And it's giving us this impression that you yourself are going to be a millionaire. You're not. Making 1 million in sales is your company making 1 million in sales, right? Let's say you have a job and you bring in 50, 100, whatever it might be, 1,000 a year. At the end of the year, do you have $100,000? No, not you made it 100,000 at the end of the year, you don't have 100,000. That would insinuate that you didn't spend anything, right? So the same thing with our business. Our business has to pay bills. You will have to pay people. That won't cost you a ton. You will need those people in order to make sure that you're making more money and keeping your sanity. So you have to kind of spend money to make money scenario. You're going to need to have automation services that you're going to have to pay for. Again, those won't be a ton. They will be a necessary thing in your business. You might need to pay for ads at some point. You don't have to, but I recommend it. It makes your life a lot easier. Websites, emails, those kind of things. You're going to have bills within your business. Again, this is why you need to scale really quickly by having one singular thing that you're really, really focused on in the beginning. Get someone to help you with that. You're making enough money to get some help so that they can help you scale that even more while you're focusing on expanding it. And we're going to talk about the expanding that offer in just a moment. All right, so you have to know your numbers. So, what does 1 million look like? That's approximately 84,000 per month. Now, when I first heard that, when I first started thinking about that, I was like, what? At the time, I'm like, I don't even make that a year, let alone a month. Again, remove yourself. This is not you making that much. This is your business making that much. Okay. This is not your personal income. This is selling for your business. And you are not going to be the only one doing it. Got me? Okay. We understand? Everyone, comment. Let's make sure everyone's here. Everyone's engaged. Do we understand this concept that you are not your business? You are the vision holder for your business, but you are not your business. You need more people in your business than just you. Otherwise, you're a contractor and you're just a coach. We want to have a business. We want something to reach 1,000,000. It has to be the business reaching 1,000,000. Now, the business can help us become millionaires. Yes. But we're not going to become a millionaire because our business is making 1,000,000 in sales. Okay. That's the first step. That's the first milestone. And any million billionaire will always tell you getting to that first million is the absolute hardest. After that, it's easy. Okay. So keep that in mind as well. All right. So around 84,000 per month. That's about 21,000 per week. Now, I see coaches do this all the time where they have a big launch and they're like, I had an $80,000 launch. Great. Is that an $80,000 launch because you're launching each month? Are you launching each quarter? Are you launching 2 times a year? And just because you make, let's say 80K in a launch, which is these are these quotes and claims you're going to see everywhere. That does not mean that that's what they made right then and there. They sold that much. Now they might have people on payment plans. Doesn't mean they collected 80,000 right then and there. So be wary. I'm empowering you so that when your mindset sees all these claims, you know what this means. Okay. So you do an $80,000 launch. That means you have $80,000 promised to you. And then this is where we get into this term. And if you haven't heard it yet, that's okay. Cash flow. Cash flow is the cash that you're collecting within that moment and the cash that you're going to be collecting each month. So you can do 1,000,000 in sales in 1 year. And this is where, like, when I went to business school, I was like, what? And did accounting. And I was like, that's so frustrating. But this is how business lingo goes. Okay, this is the business lingo. You can make $1,000,000 in sales. That does not mean you collected $1,000,000. Does everyone understand? Business lingo is different. It's confusing and it can somewhat sound misleading. Okay. That would mean that you have $1,000,000 in like open invoices. And I want to empower you to know this when people are talking about this, because you're going to see if you're looking into business coaching, if you're listening to business coaches, I want you to know what this means. I'm very much about empowering people. That is one of my core values. And making sure people understand, because I always find it very frustrating when I found out the first time and I'm like, what? All right. There are ways to make sure that you collect the money. That you can collect the money that, you'll hear a lot of coaches say, put it on your credit card and, pay in full. You want people to pay in full. And that's one thing that we do within Package Up Your Offer. One of my programs within Million Maker Business Blueprint. So we package up our offer to really provide an incentive for people to pay in full so that we're not waiting on money. And then there's also apps and programs out there where you can help people get a payment plan of some sort so that they are taking out a line of credit through someone else and paying you in full. Okay, so know that there are these two different sides of this. Just side note, make you feel empowered. Okay. Now, 21,000 a week. When we think about that, and we think about our business, and we think, again, we're separate from our business and we're selling stuff. If you had a team of 2 to 3 people, and let's say you're coaching your high ticket coaching offer, right? For a lot of us, this still seems really big. For me now, I'm like, I've seen so many coaches out there. This is small. $6,000 for a coaching package. Now, for the average person, a $2,000 coaching package is still a lot of money to spend. Trust me when I say this, there are people out there every single day paying far more than $6,000 for a coaching package, training program, certification, something, right? A certification is just a fancy way of packaging up knowledge. So when we hear $6,000 coaching package, do we think that we could sell that? Type in a yes. Do you think that you could sell a $6,000 coaching package? You can say yes. You could say maybe. You could say that sounds scary. You could say, yes, I'm already selling $6,000 coaching packages. Okay. So type that in. I'm curious, right? Like, let's see where we're at. Because if we were selling a $6,000 coaching package, that would mean we would need 14 new purchases every single month. 14. That doesn't sound so scary, right? And that's if we were only selling the coaching packages. Maybe it's a group program with a couple one-on-ones thrown in there too. 14 people. Now, with 14 people purchasing each month, does that mean that you're going to go find 14 people? No, as we mentioned yesterday in day 3, you're going to need to have a lead generation system going all the time. Yes, Victoria, 6,000. Yes, it is totally possible. Totally possible because we think about how much impact that's going to have on their life. We can easily drop, wait, how much should we drop on coffees and stuff each month? We bought, let's see, I didn't do this calculation. We spent 5. No, now I spend 6. $6 and let's say every day times, oh, let's see, 6. I can work a calculator. 6 times 30 times 12. We're spending over $2,000. We can spend over $2,000 a year just if we went to Starbucks every day. Okay. So let's really, like, we can help people put this into perspective. If you have clients, which we know our target audience, that go shopping on the regular and they buy stuff just because it's on sale, do a hypothetical mock up of how much they're spending every year. How much do people spend on coaching stuff, on business stuff, where they buy a little course here and they buy a little course there and they buy a medium course here, and then they never end up doing any of them because they don't have the accountability? They probably just spend just as much, right? So, like, we need to know these things and we need to really put in perspective for potential clients too. I'm getting on a side. I'm teaching. I'm gonna pull myself back. You could tell, like, I love this stuff. I love explaining this. Okay. So to get 14 new people, to really make sure that we're pulling leads in all the time, we are gonna need to multiply that times 4. That's what my preferred method is. So that we're really looking at, what did I say? Around, we'll just say 200 new leads every month. I was overestimating. 200 people each month, you might get 14. And then we're like, oh, how am I going to get 200 new leads each month? Well, that's why we need to put systems in play. This is why we need help. Because unless we have ourselves hitting, being seen out there, putting our stuff out there in front of people and pitching them the offers, along with just our marketing in general to pull in those 14 people. So we can see the level of work that needs to happen. And if you're doing all of that by yourself, then your full-time job would be just trying to get people. It'd be overwhelming trying to do all of that, plus trying to actually create your content, plus trying to actually facilitate the transformations. This is why it's so essential for us to scale. We need to, 1, create a movement, 2, create our processes and systems and start doing that early on. And 3, know our numbers. Now, I was doing that just as if you had one offer and one offer only. You're going to start with the one offer. You're not going to reach a million in a month. You're not going to reach your 84,000 in that first month. Okay. And I'm not going to say like to reach a million in 1 year, you would already have to have a pretty robust concept of how to do it. You would already have to have some type of established system of some sort, and then you would perfect it and you would go hard for a year. That's not what I'm talking about. I tell my clients, like, most of us are going to have to overcome a lot of thought process. And I tell them, like, you can reach a million in 5 years in sales. You could do it in 2 years. I'm not going to tell you you can do it in a year. But if we got to 500,000 in a year, would we be pretty happy? Yes, because we know that million's coming next year. Okay. So I always want to keep things in perspective. I do not want to make false promises. I want you to have a realistic view because so many of us are comparing ourselves to all this other noise out there. And then we're feeling like failures or feeling like we can't do it or we're not doing it right. Okay, so we need to put things into perspective so that we feel empowered, so that we do not feel broken or incomplete or whatever, enough or worthy or, all those words. Okay. You are going to have more than just one offer. You are going to have a mix of offers. And in fact, if you are doing a launch and you're selling your high ticket offer, then you can also say, but if that's not an affordable option for you right now, I also have my medium ticket and my low ticket offer so that you are getting a mix of sales. And I teach you how to do all this. Don't worry about that. Focus on the one thing, but have all of this in your mind so that you're empowered and you know where you're going. All right. Then when you set up your evergreen, because you are, in order to reach a million, you're going to have your organic and you're going to have your evergreen. Your evergreen can also be making lots of low ticket sales and medium ticket sales. Normally, your high ticket sales are going to require a phone call. But you can have this other stream that's coming in. We call that our passive stream. And then we will have our active stream. Our passive stream is where we have this money that we're going to be spending. Our active stream is how we're growing. Okay, our passive stream is for spending, our active stream is for growing. Now, within that, let's look at some things. If you did a $49 offer, you would need 1,715 purchases if just a $50 offer. Around 1,715 buys per month. That's a lot of work. You're going to have to get in front of a whole lot more people. This is why this high ticket offer talk is so big. You have to have a regular following in order to get that many. So the low ticket offer does not come first. At least selling big on the low ticket offer does not come first. You might make some sales and it feels really good. And that's what a lot of us are searching for. And I have done that with clients where we create a small little low ticket offer just so they can boost their confidence. But knowing that this is not the way to really make money in your business. If you want to stay a side hustle, then just do these little low ticket offers and work your butt off at getting in front of people. Or you can get in front of a whole lot of people, start making your money with your high ticket offer, and you're growing your following quicker while you're also selling. And then you've got all these low and medium ticket offers coming out slowly afterwards, and you've got the following to actually purchase them. That's how that works. All right. And then you create a mix of it, and it starts to get a whole lot easier. And as you can see, this is why it takes a lot to get to that million. But when you get to that million, that means you've had all of these previous people, which you know your target audience, so you can keep creating different content for them. You can keep supporting them in new ways, and that will start to snowball, right? It starts to pick up momentum. You start to get more people following you. And then these little low things and these automated offers and all this stuff just starts just taking off, and it's beautiful. Okay. So, little review before we end today. Tell me how you're going. Tell me how this is going. Is this helpful? Are you learning? Have you watched the other days? Or are you going to go back and watch the other days? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about it. So, number one is that we have to create a movement. We have to look at it and really honestly ask ourselves, does this give me goosebumps? Does this give me chills? Does this make me so excited that I want to stand on the rooftop and just shout it out? Of course, we're not going to, because we know that's not the real way we invite people, right? It's like the people who go knocking door to door and try to convert us generally doesn't work unless they're like, hey, let me have some conversations with you. This is why networking is so important. Like, let me talk to you. Let me invite you into a movement, into a thought that I have. And then once they're in the movement and in the thought, you can let them know that you actually have products that support that thought movement. Like, thought leader is so important. Number two, while we're starting with that first offer, we're really looking at how can we create systems and processes and get help with this so that we can bring on 2 to 3 people to really help us in all these different areas. You do not need to do everything. You shouldn't do everything. The more and more your business grows, the more your time costs. The more valuable it is, the more high ticket it is. And then you can actually up your prices. There are coaches I see very regularly selling at 20 to 30,000 per package per person. Okay? And it's all about that return on investment. Then number 3 is really knowing our numbers. Being realistic. Going, okay, for this first 3 months, these are my goals. This is, what's actually possible. And then doing that calculation, going, how many people do I need to be in front of? I would recommend you set a goal to be in front of 200 people at least every month. Go ahead and start that goal now. Be in front of 200 people every month. How are you going to capture their information? As we talked about yesterday in lead generation. Okay. So this is Scale Your Business to $1 Million. I'm Izzy Nally. I'm your host. Thank you for being here. Whether you're catching the live or the replay, I am going to drop in here. You can book a call with me and we can really look at one core. And I say this because it's a free coaching session, but you have to have one core problem in your business that you really want to focus on right now. Something that we could do in hypothetically 15 minutes. I give us 30 because we will get talking. I will get talking. And one little problem, like, what's your next step? What's the next step? What's the big thing that you really need to be focusing on next? So go to calendly.com/Izzy Nally with the E /start-and-scale. Okay. And book a session. And again, it's one issue that we can actually address to get you moving the next step forward. If we try to talk about everything, if we try to solve everything, nothing happens. Same thing with our target audience. We try to help everyone, we help no one. We try to tackle everything at one time, we tackle nothing. One little thing. And I will help you in deciding what is that next step that you need to focus on, to put all your energy on. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And I am wishing you so much love and success and focus and intention and prosperous year as well. All right. I will see you tomorrow. We got one more day of our 5-day strategic business training. I'm Izzy Nally, and this is Start and Scale Your Coaching Business. Bye.